We are talking about the potential upcoming ban list. So as you know or don't know, we are getting the NAWCQ, basically the most important event in America, as well as the EU WCQ afterwards, which is going to include Infinite Forbidden, the brand new set that's going to actually change the meta, maybe. And that maybe is what we're talking about. Everyone is wondering, are we actually getting a ban list before these two massively important events? If we do, and they finally address the tier 0 Snake Eyes deck, then we might have a really interesting, crazy format. But if we don't, there's a very good chance that Snake Eye is still just the best deck by far, and that would be hella boring. So with everyone assuming we're getting a ban list, let's do some predictions as to what they may be hitting. Now before that, 50cards.shop is a new Yu-Gi-Oh vendor. They actually have been the biggest and best vendor in Vanguard for many years now, and so now they're branching off into Yu-Gi-Oh. So they got some boxes for pre-order already, I believe some sleeves as well. They'll soon also start doing singles, so you can go to the link in the description and use the code SOLEMN for a discount. Pretty sure Infinite Forbidden will also be there. Just check it, link in the description, use the code SOLEMN for a discount. Now for the ban list, let me make it perfectly clear. This is a prediction, not a want. If this was my want list, we were banning so much stuff you cannot imagine. But that is not gonna happen. Instead, I'm telling you what I think Konami will do with their usual thought patterns. And last time Farfa checked which YouTuber has been the most consistent, getting the right calls and so forth, and I was pretty at the top. You had quite some pros fucking up, while me, Pack, and I think Farfa, we're all at the top, so, you know, just saying, just saying. So first ban, anti-spell fragrance. This is one very, very toxic floodgate. For all intents and purposes, it's an Imperial Order, and it's currently a Saki one-off. While Snake Eyes is currently choosing for skill drain, that's mostly because so many people are on hand traps and less so on breakers, but if people start moving to breakers, which is something we've been seeing in these nationals, then maybe they start playing anti-spell again. And so overall, with their gradual moves from hitting every single floodgate from 3 to 1 to 0, I think anti-spell is now gonna go to 0 since it was recently also put to 1. Next ban, and this one I'm actually not super sure about, is Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. Now we all know Appaloosa is essentially a floodgate. It is a skill drain on legs, because if you don't draw the out, and with the battle protection that exists today in the form of Zelantis and so forth, odds are pretty good you're not resolving monster effects that turn. So this card is super toxic, we all know it, but it was just reprinted in Rarity Collection 2. And while I think them reprinting it in Rarity Collection 2 is a good indicator that they will hit it soon, they've cashed in on that reprint equity, I think maybe this is too fast still. Again, I'm gonna put it here, I think they will ban it, and the reason they will ban it is because of Snake Eye. Basically, I believe that in the tins, they are giving us Snake Eye reprints, and so they are not willing to completely murder the engine. I think they will not dare to do what's needed to balance the format. Again, like I predicted last time. And so once again they will hit around the problem where the main problem is like Flamberge and OSS, but they won't ban those. Really, the fix for this deck is Flamberge and OSS to 0, but they won't. So if they hit around it, and Appo being one of the most powerful endboard pieces, and they've done it before with Borlode and Baron, and we see that did nothing, I called that, but they're gonna do it. Appo, in my opinion, to 0. Next, Snake Eyes Oak ban. So this is once again one of those lukewarm hits, but it's better at least than Snake Eye Ash and Wanted to 1, which they did in the OCG. As we saw, Fiendsmith has essentially taken up those slots, and they still have the same amount of starters. Maybe even better starters. Your follow-up is a bit worse, but who fucking cares? You now have Fiendsmith follow-up, which is also crazy. So since we're getting that in Infinite Forbidden, assuming we get a link to Goddess, I think they will at least have slightly the foresight to not do just consistency hits. So for that reason, I think Oak will be banned. The deck will still be extremely good, but it's at least hits around it. And more importantly than that, since Oak was a low rarity card, this still gives tins the ability to reprint high rarity ones. The tins will still be able to print OSS, Wanted, Diabellstar, Flamberge. They didn't address the core issues, but they weakened the deck and are still able to sell reprints. That's why Oak is going to 0. The next ban, Sanctifier Dragon, the gimmick puppet Jaugen summoning piece of shit that we all hate. Branded is still gonna be a really good deck after that. Branded doesn't really need to gimmick puppet lock. You know, if you're a good Branded player, you can easily put up 10 interrupts out of a single Branded fusion. Who fucking cares? But it does take away some part of the toxicity, let's say, say, and more importantly, by not doing something crazy like banning Branded Fusion, this hit still allows them to sell the Battles of Legends reprints that we just saw. At first I was like, wow, in OCG they have Branded Fusion at 1 or something like that. Maybe they want to do that in TCG because Konami loves murdering older decks in order to sell new decks, but I don't think they will, because one of the big pulls of the Battles of Legends set is those higher rarity branded cards. So instantly hitting those now makes no sense, but getting rid of the Sanctifier thing, which everyone has been crying about for so long, that makes more sense. That is still going to push some people to buy new decks without nuking your reprint set. So that's why Sanctifier to 0. Now for the limits. First we have Wanted to 1. Now while I personally hate this idea, not because I think it's bad, I think it should happen, but it's one of those consistency hits that doesn't really do anything. The reason though I'm still gonna say it is because at least it's one of the higher power consistency hits, because it's going to take away that draw 1 more often, and you still get to reprint it in a tint. So you can still reprint Wanted, even though it's at 1, you can still reprint Diabellstar, OSS, Flamberge, and so forth. So you're still gonna be able to squeeze everything you can out of that without actually fixing the problem. Once again, I would like to reiterate, this is not what a ban list should be like. This is what a ban list, in my opinion, is going to be like because of Konami's incentives rather than the incentive of fixing the game. Next, we have Skill Drain to 1. And the reason here, once again, is they've gradually been moving all of these floodgates from 3 to 1 to 0. And now Skill Drain is already out of that window of we just cashed into it in Rarity Collection. Also an important note that it is once again a soft Snake Eye hit, because one of the big things that Snake Eye can do is try to combo, flip a Skill Drain, and then out it themselves. It's one of the best floodgates that works with them because you're removing the ash from the field so that it still resolves under Skill Drain as you get rid of the Skill Drain. So by hitting this, you are also taking away some of that toxic, let me self-remove my floodgate kind of angle that Snake Eyes has. Does it fix the issue? Of course not. But can you still sell reprints in the tins? Yes, you can. Next, I think Runic Tip is going to 1. This is a hit that has been done for a long time, I think in Master Duel plus OCG. I gotta check specifics again. But this is one of those lukewarm Runic stun hits. Also, Skill Drain to 1 is another lukewarm Runic stun hit. Should there be more? Of course. But they won't do it. They need decks that are ridiculously easy to play. I actually also considered like Terraforming being banned for this reason. They did it before in Master Duel. And there's a lot of toxic new field spells gradually coming into the game. So maybe there's like a world where they do that and then it's also a Runic stun hit without actually addressing the real problem. But I don't know. I think Tip to 1 is gonna happen. Next, and this is maybe a hot take, Dimensional Barrier to 1. So while we've been talking about all these continuous trap floodgates that they're hitting, I think D-Barrier is gonna happen because of 2 reasons. First of all, Ritual Beast just came out in Battles of Legends, and I think Dimensional Barrier is one of those fears that deck has. So if you want to sell that pack better, you should get rid of the floods that can hurt it. Tenpai also got a big buff in Infinite Forbidden coming up, and if you want to sell that deck, you should probably get rid of some of the floods that are impacting it. And then Gimmick Puppet is also being sold in Infinite Forbidden, and once again, that's a deck that just scoops to a D-Barrier, so you want to get rid of that problem. It also means they could just ban it outright. It is possible D-Barrier just goes to 0 altogether, but I think they're not really fans of such aggressive hardcore instant bans, especially because so many players are currently on Skill Drain as their flood that it's not as obvious that D-Barrier is just as much of a problem. But I do think putting it to 1 is going to be the way to go, like, but we want to sell these new packs, you know? Next up, Heavy Storm to 1. I think Heavy Storm is going to go to 1 just because they did it in OCG. They noticed, oh, no one cared. Cool, let's do it here as well. It's also going to be one of those, you know, nostalgia type of cards coming back. You know, they did it with Change of Heart. They did it with Snatch Seal. They did it with, you know, Monster Reborn quite some time ago. And now they can just do it for Heavy Storm. I think it's going to happen. Next up, Triple Tactics Talents to 1. This is maybe a hot take because not a lot of people are crying about it right now. But I do think if you get more and more of these hand trap war things and people keep siding into like packages to push through hand traps, like we saw Paulo putting in the Kshtira package in the sign, and we have people playing Cross Out, and we have people playing Tactics. It's like all of these punishes for hand traps, which is really the only thing you have to stop people from combo womboing a billion minutes turn 1. Then the punish of Tactics look at your hand is getting way too much. And so I think they're going to limit it. They also already cashed in on the card in Rarity Collection 1. And so that's just, you know, a bit of a weird one. I do think like Crossout or Called By could also be hit in some way because of this type of philosophy. But so this whole basket is probably gonna get hit in some way, I think. Then for semi-limits, once again, Crossout. I think it's gonna happen. I think not only, like I mentioned, do we have these insane punishes for going first and so forth already. We also have Molchummy coming out. I don't know if Molchummy is actually gonna be, you know, a complete maxi replacement that everyone's just gonna ram into their decks. But if it is, then Crossout gets even better. And you don't want your new card to get worse because of Crossout, right? So you want to sell that new card. Again, that's wild speculation. I haven't tested enough to know if Purelia is going to be in every deck like that. It might be format dependent, but I think Crossout to 2 is a pretty good call. Then finally on the semi-limit list, I think they're going to bring all the rulers to 2. You know, Tempest, Redox, Tidal, Blaster, just all to 2. They haven't done shit. It's very obvious these cards are outdated dog shit. It's been long enough. And in the unlimited category, I see Reasoning and Monster Gate coming back purely because Infernoid can use all of the support, and once again, Battles of Legends needs to get them sales. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as I said, if you want to buy some beautiful product, incentivized by various hits, you can go to 50cards.shop and use the code SOLEM for a discount. Links will be in the description. I will see you soon. Ciao.